Testing. 1, 2. 1, 2 on the mic. You ready?
Ready to go.
Oh, let's wait. Let's get straight into it then. Ready?
As always.
Let's go. Hello and welcome to another episode of Unfiltered Rugby League. Thanks to everyone that's already subscribed to the YouTube channel and that's interacting with all the TikToks and our social media channels. We really appreciate it. We're enjoying all the comments. Shay's not taking anything too personal as well. But yeah, get involved. Keep dropping us some messages. And if you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Some guests coming up soon. And some different episodes to come along as well. So we're just trying to make this rugby league adventure for everyone even better. And the journey continues. So let's get into it. Thursday night, few games. We've got a game midweek this week, haven't we, as well? Mm-hmm. So that'll be interesting. Probably make it a little bit different. Is it Tuesday night? The Warrington game. So we'll go right back to Thursday. Quickly touch on the three fixtures that happened, Hull KR and Catalan, it sort of went the way that we imagined it would, really. Winning by a few tries. Again, is this the problem? We're seeing too many fixtures where, I know we've said at times we can't call some games, but there's too many times when we see the likes of Catalan playing away from home where it's just seems a given, doesn't it, that they're not taking a win there.
Yeah, I don't think it's only the games outside of the 8. So the rest of, the bottom half of the table, if they're playing each other, you can't call them. But I think if the top 8's playing, the top 7 are playing the bottom, you pretty much know which way it's going to go. Can't really take too much from that.
Not at all. I mean, the only one really we took is, and part of the highlight reel with the Staines try that he took really well, probably go in there for one of the solo ones this season, but Hull will probably be disappointed to even concede a couple at home there, I think. But again, it just seems for them this year, Hull KR, I don't know what the KR fans think, but as a neutral, it looks almost like they're ticking over and they're winning games, but sort of you put them up against one of the bigger teams in Leeds, Wigan, and I think they'd be thinking, we're probably not good enough at the minute.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's the problem at the minute. They can definitely beat the teams below them. I think it's just beating them team above them. But all changes when it comes to playoffs, doesn't it? It's sort of like a different style of rugby.
I think interestingly for them, they've gone in the last 4 years where they've gone from getting into the semi-finals to getting into finals to then winning finals to now they're on that other side of it where they could potentially lose these games. Despite having that experience, they haven't got a whole load of it after. They've got game-winning experience in finals now, but only once. And don't get me wrong, they were fantastic last year, but we spoke about it before, are their players just getting too old now?
Yeah, I think it'd be interesting for when CAS comes in, because the signings that Hull KR have brought in, young ones, Declan Murphy, Jack Charles, all them sort of players that have been brought in, haven't been given a chance at all, when I thought there was times throughout the season where they could have been given chances.
Do you think they'll get a chance before the end of the year? Because I don't know.
No, not under Willie Peters, and I think Willie Peters it's his last season, so he doesn't really care about the future. He cares about here and now. It's his last season. He probably wants to go out with a grand final win, that's what I want to go out with. So. I think for them sort of players, because they're all on big contracts. Murphy was on a 3-year contract, Charles was on a 4-year contract.
Yeah. Paying big money for Charles.
There are a few like Noah Booth. I know he's had a few in and out games, but
it's been almost easy to put him in. I know Declan Murphy's kind of dropping on the wing, or whatever, but he looked like he came as a fullback really. But Noah Booth, it's like he's a winger. He's easy probably to stick in on the wing.
But even then, you've seen him play. Reece Martin in the centres and things like that. And I know Noah Booth isn't by trade a centre, but you probably think you could
maybe put him
there or move one of the wingers in. I don't think Tom Davies did. And that's the way that obviously Willie Peters has gone with it, but I think to start looking to the future because it's got a really aging squad.
I think you look at Huddersfield, Saints, Warrington, these teams that have had kind of like fair injury lists, you dare say if Hull KR had anything like that, who would they be getting in? I think they would be going to sort of like the loan market and stuff, because they don't really have the players underneath them to be able to drop in, do they?
I think that's what they've tried doing, the club as a whole, the recruitment strategy of bringing. They know they don't really have it in the depths in the academy, so they've kind of gone for that young player look, but just give him a chance, innit, really. I thought there were a few times this season where Jack Broadbent's been at full-back, and I thought Declan Murphy could have... And Broadbent's had a poor game, and I thought maybe they could have put, hit Declan Murphy in for a game. So Jack Charles, when Lewis got suspended for 3 games, I thought, why, these players are on long contracts, but why would you not give them a go? And we've seen what they can do. I think Jack Charles were really promising when he were at Hull. Talked about as being there for the next 10 to 15 years at FC. He's obviously gone to KR, and Declan Murphy, we all seen what he did at a poor Salford team last year, so it was surprising that they hadn't been given a chance. But
I think interestingly, looking ahead to next year, to just touch on to finish with KR, with Kalis coming in, he could be someone that comes into Hull KR, and the likes of Jack Broadbent that's getting a lot of game time now could be someone that maybe isn't really part of Kalis's plans, because he don't want someone that can go and play 6 different positions and do an okay job. He maybe wants specialist players in specialist positions, and I think it'll be really interesting to see what happens with him next year, but I wouldn't be shocked if something like that happened. It may be because we've spoke about before the value of utility players and how good, should they be on big money given the amount of positions they can play, but yeah, it'd be interesting to see what he does, and really you'd like to think, and I think KR fans would want to see it as well, some of the youth brought through, some of the younger players, whether that be from other Super League teams or the average age of the squad is obviously growing and growing now, and you've got players there that are north of 30, which we know we've seen happen to other clubs where there's no reinvestment, which it looked like they were doing, but now it seems to be that they're just not really utilising that. So yeah, as we predicted, we thought KR would take that one. Catalan again, it's just one of them. I think kind of what you're getting at the minute. The squad looks like it'll probably dismantle at the end of the season with a few players leaving. I think Cartwright, if it, next year could have a major job on his hands in sort of reshuffling all that squad around. And I know they tried saving a little bit of money this year, but really depends what happens next year. I think a lot of reinvestment needs to happen again with them. Warrington, they took, again, sort of as we predicted, winning by a few tries. York gave it a little bit of a go, but Warrington just out in front too quick. And I don't think really anyone fancied York to go there and get a win. And similarly, I think Warrington and Hull KR have been relatively similar this year. The only saving grace with Warrington, I'd say, is they've used a lot of their youth. And probably they've jumped up to 3rd now, haven't they, in the table. Play Hull KR this week. It could be. It's a big game, really. That game tomorrow.
I think if it's going to sound daft, this, because obviously people will say it's obvious, but if you don't finish 1st and 2nd, you want to lock in 3rd and 4th, preferably 3rd. Yep. You want at least a home quarter. Yeah. If you finish 5th and 6th, I know Leeds have done it before, but I think they're the only team that's ever done it from that sort of position. So realistically, you want to try getting that top 2, but then obviously, like I say, you do want that third and 4th spot. So it's massive for them to obviously just stay in there, and obviously with the game in hand, if Warrington win this and just obviously try win all the remaining games, they could jump into 2nd, which is
2 points behind top spot if they win. So their game in hand, if they win that, 2 points behind top spot, 4 points ahead of Wakefield.
I think it's a must win for probably both teams. Where's it at, that game?
I think it's at Hull KR.
Yeah.
I think.
So, but either way, like I say, it'll be a good game, that one, for probably neutrals. Obviously George Williams is back, played really well the other night.
Massive boost for him coming back into the team. Like I say, we spoke about it at the start of the year. They've managed to get him back in good time, really, as they sort of said. I think it'll be really interesting now with 4 games, 5 for these obviously left of the season now, and Warrington obviously they're in the playoffs, aren't they? Pretty much. I think if they win this game, they'll be locked into playoffs, I reckon. So yeah, I think it's great for England if he has a good end to the season as well. And yeah, he obviously will, as we discussed a lot earlier in the season, will end up being England's captain, no doubt, and on that plane. So yeah, hopefully, if he's flying, I just think back to that time when he went to Canberra, and obviously they made it through to the semis and the finals. Like, it was unbelievable. And if COVID never happened, then possibly it could have been slightly different. He could have been playing at a different NRL team by now. But yeah,
I don't think he'd have come home if it weren't for the fact of the NRL. Obviously, the Australian government took real strict, didn't they, saying the borders weren't going to be open for years on end. So I get why he made it.
Obviously the child on the way and stuff. But yeah, obviously heading to the Dolphins next year, you would assume he's going over there to be a starting halfback. Christian Wolff knows, he's seen enough of George Williams, and to know that probably what he's getting and what he can still get from that. Even at his age, he's over 30, but now we look at the likes of Cherry Evans coming over and still doing it at 36-year-old in the NRL, 37 next year. Well, Williams, you dare say, could have 3-4 years left at least.
Oh yeah, 100%.
At the top of his game. So yeah, maybe we're looking too far ahead, thinking that actually, is he done? Why on earth would the NRL be wanting him at this stage of his career? But actually, it might be just what they need. So yeah, another good win for Warrington. Again, really ticking over nicely them this year. Burgess will be pleased with that, I would have thought. And yeah, really like what they're doing at the minute. A lot of investment in the youth. I watched their youth game against Castleford the other night, and again, some really good players coming through for them. So their academy prospects are looking really positive. Yeah, unbelievable. I just can't believe the size he's put on this year compared to that debut this time last year, to then how sort of big he looks and athletic, mobile. He's.
I don't think Super League will keep it for long.
They will be very, very, very lucky if they can keep hold of him for that length of time. Again, the only saving grace might be he's an half-back. Could the NRL clubs just leave it a little bit longer, thinking it might just be too soon for him?
I think they'll leave it a little bit longer. I think Warrington will have him for next year and the year after. Yeah. But if he plays the way he's doing for the next couple... I thought George Williams would have come back into the side and take a bit of pressure off him. Well, he just did everything at York. He kicked the ball, run the ball. He
Which
took
is
the
weird
pressure off George Williams.
Yeah, exactly that. That's the strange thing. He took the words out of my mouth there. Ewan Irwin took the pressure off George Williams, which is mad to think an 18-year-old's taking the pressure off an England captain.
Yeah, it's crazy. I don't think we'll ever see... A lot of people I've seen somewhere, another podcast, debating if George Williams were better than him, at 18. And I think Ewan Irwin's better than George Williams at 18.
Yeah, I couldn't disagree with that really.
Yeah, I think he is. Yeah.
Imagine if they go all the way to Old Trafford and win the grand final.
Yeah.
You'd be. It wouldn't be a complete. Well, it wouldn't be a stupid statement to make to say that Irwin couldn't be far off that England team. But you think about the likes of. Going back years when Kyle Eastman came through, he was only young. Tompkins, how young were he when he came into England fold? Like, these players were really young, so
I don't think
surely McDermott would be looking at him thinking, you know what, these Aussies think, this kid's unbelievable. Like, why would I cast him aside? And we see it in football all the time, and I know rugby's a complete different sport in terms of physicality and contact, but would it be silly to say Ewan Irwin as a late kind of rampage into that England team?
Yeah, I did think about this. Don't get me wrong, I don't think McDermott would, but I don't see why not. You look at like Izzy Katoa did it when he was over there at 18. He's Samoa, isn't it?
Is he Tongan?
One or two anyway. He did it. He were in the World Cup squad for the last World Cup squad, and he were 18. So I don't know why we wouldn't do it. He got massive raps over there when Warrington did their academy that tour over there. So if he's good enough, for me, I don't think England have had a running half like that in ages.
The thing is, it's the way. I know halves are taught to chew right into the line, but he
footwork,
carries
speed.
it. He carries it like a
Yeah.
prop into the line,
Yeah.
and then that late footwork to go on inside. Obviously, it's going to be a trademark of his, that, and it's stepping off that right foot. But just unbelievable.
And his kicking game is unbelievable. 40-20s.
You know, he can goal kick.
Yeah.
Real sharp shooter.
Or at least
as well,
this is what I think. So if he's not in that, that England squad, I don't know why. Because he's going to be our long-term halfback for many, many, many years to come.
Yeah.
Why not just ring him and say, look, you're not going to play, but do you want to come over to camp?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It'd do him no harm, that.
And he'd do it.
And
young lads would do it.
Obviously, we don't know. I'm assuming the RFL budget, all this, but they had, and it was different having it at home last time when they had Ferryman and Whitby sort of training. But never mind Ferryman and Whitby. I think they need to be looking at getting you and Owen into the camp, and
100%.
Potentially he is almost a dead cert. Like if we're 4 years down the line and he's not that England number 7.
Well, that's what I mean. Because you're looking at that age, like obviously, I know you've got like Harry Smith will still be there, but he'll be north of 30 in 4 years' time.
Oh yeah.
Jake Connor, you don't want to say they'll be done, but it'll be 35, 30. These all them sevens. George Williams, you'd think in 4 years' time. You're thinking it's you and Irwin's got to be in one of them starting jerseys.
I reckon so. I reckon he's not a shoe-in, is he? But he's definitely made it difficult, I think, for McDermott to be sort of turning him away from doing that. Yeah. I remember who wore it. It was a little bit different, but when it was 2019, one of the tours anyway, and I remember we asked Danny Richardson, didn't we, when he came on, but it sounded like he were going to be part of the England setup at the time, and then he didn't. I don't know if he got injured, and I think he said actually there were actually not really much in it, but there were definitely, he were on the cards of, even though he were young, his kicking game were unbelievable, his, how he guided the team around the park at the time, Saints were firing. Yeah. It made it really difficult for the coach at the time. It might have been McNamara, I think, wasn't it? Or maybe Wayne Bennett around that time, to not pick him. But I think you're looking at someone now, when McDermott, again, we've talked about, wants to play some different kind of rugby and offer something different. Well, you'd probably dare say that I think they'll know a little bit more about Harry Smith and Jake Connor than they will about you and Irwin. So, I think that's he's got to be in and around it somewhere, I think. But yeah, unbelievable. Warrington keep hold of him. They need to be locking him in for as long as. Never mind all these rumours of Nathan Cleary and stuff coming over. I think Irwin's good enough to tear it up in Super League, just as good as Cleary would. I think he's that good. Completely different to doing it in the NRL. But I think over here, I'd be putting all my eggs into Irwin's basket. And forget
he's in a 5-year deal now, but you just wonder how long it'll. NRL are not massively keen on paying for fees for English players, but I think if he plays like this for the next 2 seasons, I think that someone will come up and just pay the fee.
And possibly, even though he's had a lot of raps, and we'll move on in a second, but maybe the NRL clubs might be slightly wary after the Lewis Dodd saga at South Sydney. Another one that had kind of high plaudits over here, not as maybe as much as Irwin after the Super League kind of debut, because he had a tough injury as well.
To be fair though, I think a lot of people were surprised with the Lewis Dodd one.
That he'd gone? Or how
Lewis Dodd was unbelievable for St Helens, but I think especially that year leading up to that move, don't get me wrong,
the year before it was unbelievable.
Part,
he got the Achilles rupture, which is obviously an awful injury.
100%.
He came back, it took him a little bit of time to get back into it, but he still looked good. Yeah. I think Saints were just at the time beginning to sort of almost decline at that point.
Yeah. I do get that.
Yeah, and I think he was just getting probably a little bit of grief, but yeah, possibly that might be the only thing that NRL clubs kind of steer clear of.
Well, you just think now though, but in probably 2 or 3 years' time, Sam Burgess is going to be back in NRL, managing somewhere. And you think he knows him. Yeah, you'll know him very well.
Mate, it's a good point. Yeah, he could possibly end up over there and he might just keep his cards on the table and just say, look, going nowhere. And then, unfortunately for Warrington, it might be a case of he follows with Burgess when he ends up going at some point, inevitably. Just touching on then, obviously, the main game on Thursday, Rhinos again. An interesting one. We spoke earlier about some games are a given. I think it wasn't a 50-50 this, but I think definitely Leeds will have been fearing Lee coming.
I think you went Lee, didn't you?
I think I fancied an upset. I can't remember now.
I think you went Lee.
I just... There was something about Leeds where... You spoke about the physicality against Wakefield. Unbelievable champion team coming back from obviously what they did, but it's 16-0 down. They were at one point. Yeah. We've then seen this week, which we'll come on to, the Wakefield have gone up again against St Helens, but Leeds really just, I don't know, they fought right to the end, but I want to say, Jake Connor, there were a few brain farts in that game. A few moments in that game. Don't get me wrong, there were the unbelievable 40-20 late on where Armstrong just about...
The only thing I liked about that is I don't think any other player in the comp goes for that at that point in the game.
No, probably not.
He was third tackle, he still had 2 minutes on
the
clock, he didn't need to go for that at all, and he went for it and it came off. So that's the only thing I will say about that.
And as soon as it left its boot, a lot of the time you think, is it even going to get in the direction? But you knew it were going to. It was just a matter of if Armstrong were going to get there quick enough. And to be fair, Armstrong did as well as he could probably. Like I say, just one footstep too many. I think Lee. I think if it came to a big game, and I'm talking a semi-final or final, I don't think they'll have enough to do it in that kind of game. I think just these random. It's a really weird stage of the season at the minute. A little bit like when it's in between Christmas and New Year and you kind of don't really know what's going on. Teams have got the ability to beat everyone, as we know from Saturday's fixture. I think 90-odd% of people had backed Leeds to beat Leeds on Thursday night, especially at home, not lost this season. How much does that derail Leeds now? Or do you think it doesn't at all?
I can't imagine Brad Arthur's over at Mill.
I don't think he will be. He looked...
The game was...
He looked a little bit baffled, I thought, as in...
I think this physicality thing's getting to him.
They got away with it the week before. That would a big get out of jail card.
Yeah, and I think that's why they've been looking for another prop to bring in before the window shuts. 100%. I think that's baffling him. I think they've been beating teams of pure class and just been better than the other teams at rugby. Yeah. And I don't think. I think if you were to pick out some of the most physical teams, in the comp, they won't be way down there, but they'd be low down to where you'd think. Like you look at the great teams over the years of St Helens, Hull KR when they were up there, and like your Wiggins, like they're the physical. They were a team you just hated playing because not only were they better than you, physically they just batter you all over the park. And I just don't think that's what you get from Leeds. I think they've got quite a soft underbelly.
I think again I can't disagree on that. I think you've got some players there that are not even just physically, they give away a lot of penalties as well. They give away penalties. They seem to be, when they're in the grind against teams, I'm not saying they can't go with the grind against them. When Leeds go out in front, they go out right in front. When they're in the grind, I'm not sure about them, mate.
And that's the only thing with Lee. Have made a lot of games this year look a little bit scrappy. But you've got certain teams like that can just stay with it.
I think a lot of teams now will know with Leeds, just stick with them. Yeah. But as long as keep them out, as easy as this sounds, but we've seen it now. They've lost a few games just in quite strange sort of ways, I think. And again, a lot of the games, that Wakefield one in particular, you can see it two ways. One, they get out of jail card and they got lucky. Two, champion team and they've come back from behind.
I just can't see Leeds going up against Wigan in the grand final and beating them.
How many games left have we got? We've got 4 games left now. They're on 36 joint with Wigan.
Yep.
You've got Warrington. I fancy Warrington in that game this week, which will come on tomorrow, we'll come on to. Just say they end up 2 points behind Leeds and Wigan. That means there's 3 teams now, 2 joint, 1-2 behind, with 4 games left. Is there a possibility Leeds don't finish in the top 2?
No, I think they'll finish in the top 2. I think there's question marks over the
they've got,
league leaders.
Let's just see who they've got coming up. So they'll play York away, which you'd like to think would be a given, no disrespect to York. They've then got Saints away, which notoriously they don't do very well away from home, and Saints are must-wins, so I don't think that's a given as much as it was 2 weeks ago maybe. They then play second to last game, Wigan. They then play Hull FC.
The Wigan game's the big one.
So I think there's 2 games possibly there that they can't just get away with playing at 50%, I don't think. Whereas there's been some games this year they've probably scraped through at not playing the best. The Wigan one, well, Wigan are in for the first place now, which I wouldn't have thought 12 weeks ago were going to be happening. I think that if they don't finish in that top 2,
they'll finish I think they'll finish in the top 2.
I'm just going to put it out there now, and it's funny because I said earlier in the season I didn't think they'd finish in the top 2, and then of recent I thought, what a silly statement that one. It still could be a daft statement, but it's now not a ridiculous statement with them being only 2 points in front. The only saving grace is the points difference. They've got a huge points difference. So again, it'd have to be a complete capitulation for the rest of the season. I think it's just how does that game the other night affect them?
The problem is, the game the other night, they've lost, but you look at the remaining games, Leeds have still been the best attacking team in the comp.
Yeah.
It's proved stats there, everything. And probably when you watch them, when they're in attacking flow, they're really good to watch. The only team then, you look at it, but you know, when they got York are poor defensively, Saints have been poor defensively.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got the Wigan game, and Hull have been atrocious defensively.
Yeah.
So I think secretly Brad Arthur will be looking at them like, we'll win 3 out of 4 there, and then we'll see what happens
at least.
and then we'll see what happens at Wigan. So
do you think they're bothered about finishing first? I know we mentioned before about the top 2.
They'll want to, but I think you just want top 2.
There's not a massive benefit about top 2.
Obviously, you get a league leaders medal and you get the league leaders trophy.
Do you think that's big? That'll be big for Leeds, though. How much would that affect them going into them playoffs, or do you think not at all? I think it's massive for them, mate, because they've not won
it'd affect them if they didn't.
in so long.
Yeah, it'd affect them if they didn't win it, 100%. But I think as their focus, I think Brad Arthur's focus is obviously, of course, it's going to be winning the league, winning the league leaders, but that top 2 needs to be cemented. You do not want to be going away in finals football. You want to be at home.
I think if they don't finish top 2, it's a complete disaster for them. And then I think they win nothing, which again would be because Leeds fans will walk away, and their only fortunate thing is that they could come back even stronger in the following season and do what Hull KR did.
Yeah.
But in a season where they've been so strong, and it literally just reminds me of the 2018 season, where Saints had the likes of Ben Barber playing for them, and I think they lost 3 games all year, yet lost in a semi-final at home to Warrington. And it could happen, it happens, doesn't it? So I don't think it's a given. But yeah, really interesting. I'm interested to see how they bounce back from this one, because fortunately for them, again, no disrespect to York, but going to York and playing them after losing a game is probably a game you want rather than playing Wigan away or Warrington away. Yeah. You'd think anyway. We'll just touch on Hull and Castleford. It wasn't particularly a great watch, but yeah, somehow Castleford managed to get it over the line.
I just think Hull FC are just terrible.
Like honestly, going and winning that game, and that interaction with the fans and all that sort of stuff the week before, to then the week after losing at home to CAS, it's just...
I just think I've got, obviously, all year, I think me more so, but both of us have probably given a lot of shit towards Huddersfield Giants. And we've done that, and then you've got Hull FC who just churning. Like, you look, that team lineup against Castleford, there's no reason why they should not be winning that. I just don't think it's any.
They had good enough players there.
I think they had good enough players all year to give it a good go. They had good enough players to probably finish above Catalan, who were sitting in 8th. And I think this year has been so bad for them. I think it's made Richie Myler realise that we can't just chuck a load of money at what's on the field because it just doesn't work like that. It starts from the top, goes down to the bottom.
They have got, if you look at Leeds last week, they didn't lose that game against Lee through lack of effort. Lee just played well, they defended really well, and it was just a bit of an off day again. You look at Hull, do you look at some of them players and think they're just not trying? Or not trying, but they're not trying hard enough? They've got a few young lads
honestly,
playing.
with one of them ones, like I said it about Giants earlier on in the season, which actually came to be correct when I said they just don't look fit enough. Then Jim Lenihan came in and like, the fitness standard needs to raise. So what I said about that was true. With Hull FC, I genuinely don't know what it is. I genuinely don't know what it is. I think there's certain stuff that I see with, say, clubs, in the lower half just in general, and like they'll throw an offloading like, what are you doing there? Yeah. And like, that's not something the top 4 clubs are doing. Yeah. So I'm not saying you can't offload just because you want to be like top, but like I just think look at where you are in the field, like the error count coming out of the yardage in their own halves, and
I think a lot of times the missed tackles as well. Missed tackles are shocking.
Like,
sometimes you look at some teams.
Terrible.
You look at some teams in the bottom half, and the missed tackles are 30, 40 plus sometimes. And you think, you're not defending in training, or?
Well, to be fair, I think that does come along a lot to fitness, missed tackles.
Yeah, well, it does. It definitely correlates towards that. And
honestly, I think that's been the running theme this season. I think that's why we've seen a lot of blowouts. I don't think teams have been fit enough. Yeah. I think the way the Rooks started at the beginning of the year blew a lot of probably players and coaches back, being like, we're nowhere near on it. And there's a reason why certain teams at the top, i.e. your Wigan, your Leeds, because the fittest teams in the comp.
Yeah, definitely. And you can see it's visible to the naked eye.
I don't think
those
Leeds
players are fitter than the
100%.
ones playing at the bottom of the table. Sometimes there is quality. I think when you look at the likes of some of the Toulouse, maybe they're just lacking a bit of quality in depth. Same for some of the other ones, but as we've spoke about before, Huddersfield, on paper, strong team. Hull got good enough players there to be winning games. Yeah, I completely agree. I think there's definitely something amiss at that club. Maybe not just fitness, as we say, we spoke about culture and what that looks like. It comes in many different forms, and a word that's probably kind of like banded around really just a lot of the time. But I think definitely they're missing something there, a lot to change as well going in. They just need to have a strong finish to the season and try and win at least a couple of their games to send their fans slightly happier into the off-season. But yeah, Castleford, we're going to have to touch on it, a couple of things. Any sort of news from the Ryan Carr saga?
No, I've heard...
We still think he's not coming back in?
Yeah, he won't come back in. Like I said,
is he gone? Is he even around?
I don't know. I've heard lots of...
Has he been to the Asda?
I think there's a lot of rumours, obviously, what's happened, but I suppose no one can really say it because I don't want to put something out there that's false. I've heard different rumours, so I think it's one of those. The fact that you've suspended your coach, obviously something serious has gone on.
For this length of time as well, they're obviously investigating it for longer than it. A lot of these investigations are done pretty quick.
And then to top it off, Terrell Sloan's statement.
Well, we've got to touch on that. That was my second point there. It comes out and they talk about as though he's basically said, I never wanted to come over to Super League next season.
Well, I think everyone knew that though.
Do any of them really want to come over?
Well, there's that.
I think at that age, probably not.
And probably, I'll tell you what's not helped. He's actually played really well this season.
Yeah, and obviously the other day, I think that's not helped even more so, and that's when the statements kind of come out.
Andrew Johns or Joe Johns came out and said, like, what's he leaving for?
Yeah, he will be doing, because he's probably thinking, well, why is he going over there?
But he did say in the statement as well, like, I'm looking forward to getting over with Cookie and whatnot. So,
well, that's the difference, isn't it? For CAS fans, to see the statement, to think straight away, what? Like, why is he saying that? This don't look good, or the rest of it. But some fans won't know that. They won't have seen the game, they won't have seen the interview. The interview, he then did state that you were looking forward to playing with a light stadium.
And to be fair, went in adept about. He was like, I don't know what's going on with Ryan Carr as well. That's like, which that bit don't look great on the club because realistically he should have been. Them overseas signings should have been told clearly this is what's happened. We are looking into it. You'll be updated in due course. Please don't make a comment on it.
Yeah.
That's what should.
However, by saying I'm not sure, I don't know what's going on, kind of makes you think, well,
if the players
CAS,
don't know,
CAS left these new signings in the dark. Because if you were signing and you're going over, then you probably are looking at it thinking
I don't think he'll come.
Do you think they'll think it? That's a big call.
I know Chris Chester came out and said, well, they contracted, like, he didn't really. Cookie will come over.
We've seen it before, though, haven't we? We've seen players.
If he gets an offer out there, contractual or not, he's just going to say, I'm not coming.
Pangar Jr. at Warrington?
Yeah.
I'm not coming. What can they do about it? Nothing.
They've got the RLPA over there as well and whatnot. If he really didn't want to come, he could play it.
He could say anything. He could say that the situation's completely different. Mental health, different offers over here. He's not actually done whatever. They'll have big enough people to get him out, stuff like that. I think he's a worry whether they get the line or not.
If it stays like it is, then that's fine. But I think he seems to be getting on with the manager at St George at the minute. Spoke very highly of him. I think if an offer came in, St George turned around and said,
we'll keep you.
We're going to want to keep you.
Or another NRL team comes in.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me.
If that's his major plan to stay over there.
Yeah. Well, I think his main thing is I think he wants to play fullback. So I think his plan anyway. He's not going to be a Bevan French or a Jai Field. He will come over, do his 2 years, and go back no matter what. I think he's going to try to come over and slid himself as a fullback, and then go back. They've got another franchise team coming out of New Zealand. Yeah. These bigger player pool. The cap's going up to 20 million. So I think he's just going to be a 2 year man or 1 year at absolute best.
And then back he goes over there when a new offer comes in. I think dangerous times for CAS fans. I think because some of these signings that on the face of it were looking great, and the squad were building together for next year. Like you say, some of them and those the English ones like Muller still go ahead regardless. But Sloan's a completely different one. Cook you've spoke about. I possibly could get a year somewhere else, maybe not, or if he opted to stay in a Q Cup or New South Wales Cup over there. But the Sloan one's a difficult one. He was probably the main one that they were probably had to pull a lot of strings to get him over here. I think maybe the only fortunate thing is for CAS, maybe they've got Taff that could just go back to where originally he was meant to be playing, or they've got PLT to also do it. So they have got options there, worst case scenario. But I think it'll be a huge blow if something changes with him. But you think he's not going to come?
I think there's a good chance he don't come over.
Yeah.
I do. I think
there's a possibility.
A good chance he don't come over. Yeah.
Well, moving on. Touch on obviously that was Friday's game. Then moving ahead, we had on the same night. No jumping into
Saturdays.
Yeah, Saturdays. Sorry, Saturday's 3-match Saturday blockbuster. Shall we start over at Bellevue, the DIY kitchens? Yeah. Did anyone fancy that? I know at least one person that thought it, and he was a Wakey fan. I certainly did not think.
I don't think there'll be many that fancied Saints to go there and win. It were a game made up of a lot of errors off both teams at first. Hence why it were a little bit not scrappy at first, back and forth. One I think Saints scored, Wakefield scored again, Saints scored. So it were quite to and fro.
The main one was Wakey went out in front.
Yeah.
They've gone out in front, haven't they? And it kind of looked pretty rosy. Vangenaar goes off, obviously, with what I don't know if anything's come out since, so I hope that I don't get misquoted here.
Well, he's dislocated
it don't look good. Like Wellesby had that at the start of the year, exact same injury. We're out for what it looked like about 10 weeks, something like that. This could mean they don't have him for the rest of the season. Huge blow. As we spoke about, he's like a cheat code. The size of him. Yeah. Sinfield does the exact same play with him as the week before. Again, I was saying to you at the time, like, how's he gone and done the exact same try, Sinfield, and Saints players not have previewed that midweek, the same thing. Rourke goes off, massive blow. Obviously played really well so far this season, and yeah, it would almost a double whammy, wasn't it? His head and his knee by the looks of things at the same time. So I think he did pass his HA, but his knee just didn't look right. So that's a blow for them going forward. Does that mean Jowett gets his chance to kind of finish for whatever's gone on? I don't know if to probably be scans and stuff today, won't there? Or yesterday, mate. What are we on? Monday today. But I think they've got Jowett there, haven't they, that could finish the season strongly with them. Obviously heavily. It's not been announced as it the York thing, but it looks pretty much more or less done, doesn't it? And yeah, I suppose it gives him a good way if he does finish the season with them at full back, a little bit of a chance of saying, look, this is what you're missing, sort of thing. But yeah, they just seemed to go heavy, didn't they, in the kind of the front rowers and stuff on the bench, and I think it backfired a little bit. Sometimes you've got to carry maybe your outside backs and stuff, and it just didn't seem to go to plan for them. I thought Corey Hall to full back, you said at the time, would have seemed a bit of an odd one. Maybe Wormsley might have been a better option to put him there.
Well, they were at least. I'm not bagging Corey Hall by any stretch. He's not a full back by trade, but there were 2 or 3 positionally, especially that first one stood out, 20 metres out. He's in the line defensively. Kick over top to Sailor. There were a few. Don't get me wrong. I don't think that's why they lost.
That were really smart, to be fair. You know, he's obviously seen that he's tuned into the line, but 20 metres out, and he's gone back into the line, and then obviously was probably about to retreat. Yeah. But yeah, Sailor just far too quick for him and skinned past him, didn't he? I think touching on them, I think the manner of the defeat, Powell won't have been happy with.
I think defensively they were shocking.
For that. To lose that game the week before, fair enough. But they've gone in front again. Teams come up from behind to win. They've gone out in front again this week. But then to concede, 36 unanswered points in the second half?
2-0.
That's got to have been Wakefield's worst performance of the season.
Defensively, they were shocking. We watched it together. There were a couple of tries that were just soft, pretty much.
Really soft. Really some of them end ones were really poor.
Yeah.
Even at the beginning though, the Murphy one in the corner, on another day would he have been sort of like wiped into touch? Well, I think he might have been by a few other teams. I think the one-on-one were just poor again, you're going up high on someone that's 6 foot odd and
10 metres out from try line. You know what I mean? If he's close to the line, you've got to go up high.
Get in front of him.
But you just got. He's not reaching over from there. But yeah, Saints obviously deserve the win. Probably I think it's more frustrating for Saints fans because it's like St Helens finally know how to play when they're winning, but they can't play. If they play like that from the start of the game,
it's weird because they kind of touched on a bit of everything, didn't they? Like they came from behind against a really good team. There were issues with Wakefield's team on the day. Saints fans will say, well, we were missing X amount of players, but they've prepared with X amount of players missing, aren't they? So it was slightly different. Things sort of went really well. I thought Murphy started the game really well. He was obviously getting a lot of treatment again. Yeah. Took his tries well and unfortunately gone off. Hopefully nothing too serious for him. But then you've got the likes of Tristan. To me, it looked like Saints were playing, and I could be way off here, but they started in a certain way. You've then got Robertson that ends up on one side, that then goes to the other, with Davies then going back into the centre. Nene, I don't know what. Out of all that Saints team, I thought he was pretty poor on the day.
Very poor.
First game back, and we'll touch on him in a second. But Saints just seemed to be. The squad was just like Wellesby ended up in the centre. He then ends up at Tristan's at full back. You've got players in the front row playing in the back row. I honestly didn't know what was happening, and it almost seemed like Wakefield didn't know how to defend against them because the players were all playing different positions. And you'd think, surely it's pretty easy to defend against 13 players, but it's not, is it, when you've got players that are throwing into different positions and playing differently? What?
I just think everything's stuck. Just iced everything. Seems like in on the losing form, passes going wayward to ground, not going to the man, either going at his face when knock on. I can't remember how many times Alex Walmsley's knocked.
Yeah.
He's probably knocked on more in the last 4 weeks than he has in his whole career.
Yeah.
And to be fair, even then, that were again on Saturday. But then all of a sudden, when they'd gone 2 tries clear of Wakefield, they were like, we know how to play rugby now.
Yeah.
And they went and blew them away. Some of it were defensively really poor from Wakefield.
Yeah.
But
the game had gone out the
they started throwing the ball around and everything was sticking. Everything were... The attacking structure was more or less perfect. Couldn't grumble with it. So I think that's something they need to look at. They just need to stay in the grind for as long as possible.
Yeah.
The strange one now is to win games.
The weird one now is that they look like they can attack, but it's just too little, too late. Even at the FC game, the York game, I think they scored over. I think it's over 100 points in 3 games.
One thing I will say is, I know everyone keeps going on about the injuries. I 100% agree they've got injuries, but they did have a lot of squad depth. But one thing they've always managed to maintain is the 1, 6, 7 and 13. And for me, that is, if you ask any manager at the start of the season, which players do you want to protect and which players do you want to keep fit all year? 1, 6, 7 and 13, please. Every single manager picks the exact same. Yeah. No one's picking a centre, no one's picking a back rower. Everyone's picking your 1, 6, 7 and 13.
Yeah, very true.
Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they should be, second in the table.
Yeah.
They're still going to really struggle, but that shows that they've just gone to Wakefield, absolutely hammered points on them in that second half. Didn't concede a try.
Well, they've got 4 games left. Is it too little, too late for them?
I think so. I just think because Lee'd have to lose 3 out of the 4, won't they?
It's funny, isn't it? Because even if Saints went and won them all, they're relying on a lot of ifs and buts from other teams out there. And I think the best thing for them now is that, and we spoke about it the other day, is it good for them to finish the season strong and then the fans be a little bit more optimistic? Or is that even worse for them because the club and the owners then become, oh, well, actually, the squad's not bad and we've got so-and-so coming back and he's coming back and they'll be fit next year.
I think they still know they're in trouble.
I think they need to finish the season strong, but the club needs to stand pretty stern on who needs to leave. Because there's players there that are just not good enough anymore. And they definitely need that overall of players.
I think they should go out and, obviously, they need to. It should be talked about, and we need to win these last 4 games, not for the chances of the top 6. Just
think some of them players are playing for contracts? Whether they have a contract or not, do you think some of them players have been told, look, you've got 5 games left now, show us, and if not, you're going regardless, or you're sat in the stands?
I don't know. It's too difficult to say, innit? But this is my main frustration with them all season. They've still had the players on the pitch to win for me. I'm not saying against your Wigans and your Leeds or maybe call it your top 4, but they've just beat Wakefield away. That's in the top 4.
Key games that stick out: York away, Hull at home, CAS away. They're the 3 main ones, and even if you just look at them 3 alone, there's 6 points there, which would have made them in the top 6, probably 4th at that point, maybe
that's
third,
what I mean.
fourth,
they wouldn't just be in the top 6. They'd be
I think that's a
comfortably
fair
in the top
reflection
6.
on where they should be.
Yeah, and you look at the team, and this is why the injury thing is a fault. Is a massive fault, but I think you look at Giants' injuries for the first 4 rounds, and you look at St Helens teams were miles clear still of that team. Giants' team were decimated due to lack of depth and whatnot. But
their quality and depth.
I just think St Helens, although they've had injuries, and I appreciate that, and they probably play with different players each week, I still think for the last 6 weeks they've had more or less the same. This is the same team, and I just think they need to go out now, win these last 4 games. Whether you make the top 6 or not, I think you're relying on too much from Lee there.
I think so. All you need. I know a few Wakefield fans that are a bit concerned.
About what?
Going into their last games of the season.
Yeah, no, but they're not
So some of them, some of them are thinking they won't win any games, which we'll come on to in a second. But I spoke to one the other day, and he feared that they won't win any of their remaining fixtures to the end of the season, which we'll come on to in a second. We'll just touch on quickly, and again, no disrespect to these 4 teams and any fans that are watching, but Bradford, it just looked like a given to Wigan that game. I think Wigan will probably be not disappointed, but maybe felt like they could have scored more. just to help their points difference even more in that game. But I suppose to concede one away from home, they had a few young lads playing. I think Taylor Kerr played 9, didn't he, for the
Bevan French
game.
looked good,
I thought Jake Wardle looked really good, really sharp. I think, again, he's another player going into this end of the season.
So this is when it comes back to, obviously, I've said pretty much all year that I think we should move Herbie Farmer, to full back.
Yeah.
People say no, you want your best centre playing in centre. Well, you do, but Jake Wardle's the left centre, and Jake Wardle for me is the next best centre. And even if you think it's Hanley, which I know a lot of people do, I still believe it. Jake Wardle's the second best centre for me. Hanley's still, again, a left centre, and he's not a right centre. All our best centres are left centres. So you might as well facilitate another centre to go in there, i.e. Jake Wardle, or if people want it to be Ash Hanley, then fair enough. But Jake Wardle's left-footed, he steps off his left, holds the ball in his left. We need him playing in left centre. Because if you're playing him in the right centre, you're going to get a complete... That could be disastrous.
Yeah. Do you think that if you're looking... I'm always careful how I pronounce this because obviously there's Handley and Hanley. I would love to see Hanley on the right edge. But in that left edge, like you say, is there that thing of... Will he go with Ash Handley just because he's more likely to be able to go onto the wing if needed, rather than I don't think Wardle can go on the wing.
No, but I think Ash. Don't forget, you've got the extended bench in the World Cup.
Yeah. So
it's not like Super League. You've got the extended bench. So if your winger gets HIA'd and he's 18th or 19th squad player, Ash Hanley can still go on. Ash Hanley will be in the squad. But for me, I'd go with Yamal Hanley in the right centre because it's a specialist right centre. People go on about this specialist, like, you want Herbie Farmer playing in centre because he's your best centre in the world. Well, yeah, he also is, but there's also a lot of NRL clubs that pay him £1 million a year, $1 million a year to play full-back, which what will happen when it comes up for contract negotiations. To be fair, when he signed at Dolphins, he was supposed to play full-back. It was only the fact that hammer came out.
Do you know what? Like with Herbie at Farnworth, I think I would like to see him in that left centre, just because we know how devastating he is in that position. I just don't think it's a good time to be throwing him in at full-back. I don't know what our answer is to full-back.
But that's my problem with the full-back. I'd rather have two specialist centres who have been our best players all year round in Super League.
Which is a valid point.
In Jake Wardle or Ash Hanley, and then Imala Hanley, and then have Herbie Farmer, who's more than comfortable playing full-back. He's played full-back for the Broncos going through the youth setup. Like, there's a reason Michael Chamas, when we spoke to him, and said Herbie Farmer is a full-back. He sees him as a full-back. There's a lot of clubs, NRL clubs, that see him as a full-back. So I'm not saying we have to copy them. I'm just saying it's either that or we go with AJ Brimson.
That's a no-go for me.
A lot of people think this. Well, I don't think it's good enough to even play in the England squad.
He don't get in that England squad for me.
Or then you've got Jack Wellsby, who his form's been all right, but
he has looked a lot better.
But
it's a completely different thing.
I can't get over the fact of the last 2 years of his performance as a whole for him to warrant starting one in that World Cup.
I think he's going to have, and especially now, the likelihood is they're not making the playoffs. So unless he ends up going on loan to Wigan or Warrington in them last few games, he's going to have to be untouchable in these next 4 games.
I think he'll end up going though, because we've got no.
I think he will. I think he'll end up going, like you say. Whether he's first choice or not, I'm not sure. But maybe McDermott will say he's seen enough of him in time gone by to give that element of trust again. But yeah, it's another conversation in itself, this England squad. But I thought Jake Wardle were class the other night. I think definitely he's a left edge centre. I don't think he isn't someone that I'd put in on the right, but if he doesn't actually make that England sort of setup, I think he'd be hard probably done by, given his recent sort of performances. Toulouse and Giants, obviously Giants getting another win over the line, 4 in a row. They couldn't possibly go away next week and do 5 in a row surely, but Warrington probably they are backing up after a few days of playing again this week. So, I just think really good for Jim Lenihan coming in. He's a really tough start, wasn't it? And we spoke about, are they going to be a team will take a record of somebody? We never actually found that out, did we? Of how many games losses consecutively in a row, but yeah, they looked like they were well on top of getting whatever that record was. Don't get me wrong, the 4 games have fell quite nice for them, haven't they? Because imagine if they'd have had 1 game and then play Wigan away, but I suppose it works out because they've probably had the fair share of tricky games in that lost period where it's been back to back of tough teams playing against them. So yeah, a good win for Giants, especially away from home, because you'd have said 10 weeks ago away at Toulouse, Giants would have lost that game.
Toulouse just can't win without Holly Asholbot.
Shows how pivotal he's been, and we're talking about English fullbacks there. Yeah, he's probably not got, I don't know, the profile maybe to be in that England squad like we spoke about earlier. But yeah, he's a massive miss for them. They need some investment as well, don't they, in the off season? But yeah, I fancy Huddersfield, to be fair, to go and win that. Yeah, good win for them, but. Fair play, 4 in a row, and it's kind of gave them, I think, their joint bottom now.
Must have been that meal at Devour.
It might have been, yeah. We did bump into, well, not bump into him. We left him to just enjoy his meal, didn't we? But yeah, went for a little cheeky meal. Probably might have been putting the play sheet together there, and it's paid off for him. So yeah, well done, Jim Lenihan and the Giants. Joint bottom now. Potentially, yeah, you'd think now going into the end of the season. I hope they get off it. I think they will.
The season that they've had a tough season. And like I say, I've already said it. I know I've been quite critical of them. But I think deserved in patches, but this is what happened. Jim Lennor's come in, obviously clearly giving them a bit of structure. They're still not the end product, but it'd be exciting for Giants fans now going into a pre-season, getting a full pre-season and see what they can do next year.
Yeah. Well, that kind of wraps up, obviously, the review from last week, and we've sort of touched on a lot there and gone in depth on a few different things, but let's get into, we've got 8 games this week. Got 8 games, one tomorrow, which again is exciting for a midweek rugby fan. Hopefully viewing figures should be quite decent for that.
I think so,
I would have liked to have seen them market that a little bit more as a two really good teams.
Because I think it is on main event as well.
That's what I mean. Tuesday night. What else is on?
Yeah.
You know, there's no footy on. I don't believe. There's nothing on. I would have just liked to have seen, and I think it's just a missed opportunity that 2 really good teams going at each other. That could be a real blockbuster game, especially away at Hull KR for Warrington, and we've seen nothing. You know, surely it would have been easy for Sky Sports, maybe for Super League channel, whatever, to be getting it out there a little bit more. But we'll get straight into it. Hull KR, they're playing home, so this is week 2, played in week 24 of Super League. So Hull KR at home, Warrington going away. I think it's 50-50 this, if I'm honest.
Yeah, it's 50-50. I think Warrington will get it just.
I'm going to go Warrington as well.
I think they'll get it by a couple of tries. Just think with George Williams back, it's a little bit of a boost for him. They've got a few other players back as well, and I think they're going well. I've still been unsure at certain times when I've seen KR. I watched them loads and not necessarily closely over the last few weeks, but yeah, I just think Warrington, what they're doing, loving watching Irwin at the minute, and yeah, I think Warrington are in high spirits and they'll go there and get the job done, and I think it's a must win for both teams, but I think Warrington might have that edge.
I think it's a solid statement from Warrington if they can get this over the line. As I say, 2 points behind first and second place,
massive,
going into kind of 4 games left of the season, with some winnable fixtures for Warrington as well, and obviously Wigan and Leeds playing each other as well, so one of them's going to be dropping points. I think it could be described as must win, but equally it's not the end of the world if they do lose, but I think it'd be a massive statement for them. And I think it probably says a lot about Hull KR as well. That's a game they'd have won last year. And I'm not saying comfortably, but you'd have backed Hull KR at home to Warrington at this stage of the season. Yeah, I'm going to go Warrington on that one, and it kind of leaves Hull KR really in kind of a bit touchy territory. The points difference is pretty good, so they should be all right. But yeah, they're only joint with Lee at the minute, so yeah, they're kind of joint 6th, if you like. I know they're 5th place, but they're joint 6th. So moving on to kind of the weekend's fixtures. Friday night we've got Lee against Bradford. I'm just going to straight up Lee at home. But I can't see Saints fans will be hoping for a Bradford win there, but we've seen stranger things happen.
I think Bradford got the ability to make it scrappy.
The only thing there is that the only concern for Lee is that Kurt Haggerty will be saying, look, we do not want to be finishing bottom of this table.
Yeah, 100%.
They don't want to finish bottom.
100%.
It doesn't look good for them. They want to be still finishing top out of them kind of 3 clubs, promoted clubs.
Or at least just not bottom,
Yeah, and I think that's, like you say, they could make this game really scrappy, so I don't think Lee will be running away with this, but I think they'll just have too much quality in the end, especially after that good win the other night. Wigan, they're at home to Wakefield.
Yeah.
So I touched on there that I've spoken to a Wakefield fan and he thinks that they won't win another game this season. Now, they've got Wigan. I won't be backing them away at Wigan at the minute.
No, I'm not. Yeah, I'm not saying that, but they'll win. They're not going to lose the last 4.
Let me just quickly, we'll touch on, so Wakey are away at Wigan, then play York at home, which you'd think they would win that. They then play Warrington, which they are at home. They could win that. Again, it's a bit of a 50-50 jobby that at home. And then they play Lee away. So I can see why he's sort of mentioned, I think it's more, he's gone, what's the opposite to optimistic? He's pessimistic about it because of the 3 teams, Lee, Warrington and Wigan.
They'll beat Lee away. They've had, I think, sometimes, and to be fair, I think we're all guilty of it. I've been guilty of it myself. You get too intensified by. They've had a tough couple of weeks.
Yeah.
They lost that game at Leeds. I think it took a lot out of them. They lost that game, obviously, to St Helens. They've not all of a sudden gone to poo.
No.
You know, they'll listen. The Wigan game's going to be tough. But so is that the next game that we're talking about?
Wigan, yeah.
So
I think they will lose.
I think we're going to win that just because Bevan French just
It's on that pitch.
Joke.
Do you know what? What's funny? If Wigan could play their finals at that stadium, they'd probably want to, because I think the pitch. There's something about that pitch at Wigan. I don't know if it's just massive or what, but it just seems that whenever he's on that pitch, he is unbelievable on any pitch, and he really Bevan French. But yeah,
it's a full size pitch.
The only thing in this game is, if we're saying Wigan are going to win, I think Wakefield need to make something of the game. I think if they come away from that and we're going to win in 30 points to 4, I think there's a Wakefield fan base could be getting slightly concerned going into the end of the season. Yeah. They're going to make the 6 likely, but it's a massive difference from a week ago. They were going into that top 2 position, never mind finishing 6th place. So yeah, I'm going to go Wigan on that one. But
I think Tom Johnson's massive for Wakefield as well.
Just carries out yardage are unbelievable. Saints and CAS, it's a must-win for Saints. I'm going to go Saints on this one. It'd be just Saints this season, to be fair, to turn around and lose that game after a good win away at home. But I'm going to go Saints on this, and I think they'll win convincingly as well. I think they'll win convincingly this week. I say that convincing for Saints. I think they'll put 40 on CAS this week.
I just think they could get too complacent.
Do you think?
I think Jackson Hastings will be buzzing all week. All lads will be buzzing all week, and I think they'll come into that and but Castleford, it's one of those. It's either going to be close or, like you say, Saints will blow them out, because I don't think there's any in between with Castleford. No. I don't think there's any in between. Just off the premise of last week, I'm going to go with Saints. It's hard not to go with Saints when they've just beat Wakefield away from home, put a considerable scoreline on it. But I think if Castleford make it scrappy till half time, I think they could make a game.
I think so. I think their only thing he would. The funny thing is though, Saints have gone out a few times this year to 20-0 at half time, 24 at half time, and then teams have come back. I know, but I don't
think Castle will come back. No. Castle are the sort of team that won't come back from, you know what I mean?
Lie down and just let it happen. Yeah, I'm going to go Saints, big score on that game. Hull KR and Toulouse, Hull KR at home. I'm going to go KR to post some points there as well. I know I do this quite often and say sometimes they'll post points, but I just can't see Toulouse at this stage of the season. Like you say, missing Ollie Ashaw bot in them games and stuff is tricky, and then I think Hull KR probably are seeing this game as a look. We probably need to depending as well on how this game goes tomorrow, especially if they lose to Warrington, I think Hull KAS need
when do Saints play?
Saints play on the Friday, I believe.
Saturday,
sorry. They're Saturday afternoon.
What time's that on?
3 o'clock, and then Hull KAS are the evening at 5:30.
And when do Lee play Friday?
Lee play on Friday.
So that's massive, because if Lee do lose, I know it's... Who Lee got?
They got Bradford.
All right, yeah. I was about to say, if
There's
Lee
a lot,
lose,
again,
then
there's a lot of ifs, buts and maybes,
yeah.
isn't there? It's one of them. If Lee win, then
Saints
need to win even more.
Yeah, but
like,
then if Lee lose, obviously Saints need to, it's if buts and maybes.
I think it's exciting. It's almost made it like Saints will never lose. If there's it's weird because when you're seeing all the Super League stuff at the minute, and it's like playoff charge, and it's like showing the 6th and then Saints in 7th. I think if it were like Hull FC in 7th, they'd just be disregarding them and saying, nah, you're 4 points behind, they're not making it, there's 4 games left of the season. Mathematically they can make it, but I think it's just because it's St Helens that they're including them in this play. I've seen pictures go up and graphics, and people are commenting saying like, why are Saints still including that? Like, they're not even in the picture pretty much, but yeah, it's the hope that kills fans, and the Saints fans maybe might be clinging on to something, but at least they have got something, because if these games were just dead rubber for Saints fans, then we've seen their losses and stuff, and yeah, they need fans there, don't they, for the rest of the season. So, Dragons, Catalan at home to Hull.
Oh my God.
It's one of them.
That is a shocking fixture.
It's one of them. The only thing is Catalan at home, I won't put it... I'm going to go Catalan just because they're at home.
Yeah.
I think it'll be an alright game. Not an alright game, but I think it'll be a close game, to be fair. But I think Catalan will just nick it.
You know what's
I don't think many will tune into this one.
Yeah. The other positive for Hull FC fans, there'll be a lot of Hull fans that'll book this at the beginning of the season.
Yeah, enjoy your trip, lads.
At least they'll get an holiday out of it and a bit of sun. It's in August, isn't it? I'm going to go Catalan on that one, but I don't know. I'm not confident.
You never know, though, do you? Hull could go and do a job there.
Hull could quite easily win that one.
Yeah, do all right. They've done it before. I think they won last year, didn't they, away in Catalan? They had a good victory there. I seem to remember David Litton having a really good game last time, and that's when I think he sort of not announced himself, but like he looked a real player. But yeah, I'm going to go Dragons at home on that one. Warrington then on Sunday they're at home to Huddersfield. I think this could be the end of Huddersfield's winning streak.
Could just
maybe
be
just
I
make
think,
a game of it. I think
I just think with the recent
3 games,
weeks and
7
whatnot,
days or whatever.
I think they could make a game of it, but I think Warrington might just pip them. Don't get me wrong, it's going to be tough for Warrington because they've had obviously an extra game for a week and whatnot. But
depends if Burgess thinks about, but probably in weeks gone by, they could have maybe rotated some players there, I think, but I don't think they will because, like I say, Giants are there and they're playing a bit at the minute. So, yeah, I'm going to go with Warrington just. I don't think it'll be a blowout, and I think Huddersfield will be looking at it as it probably wasn't winnable before, but the fact they're playing 3 games in 7 or 8 days is massive. So, yeah, I'm going to go Warrington just on
Adam
that.
Clune's back. He played at weekend, didn't he? He looked pretty well, and they always seem to play a little bit better when he came back last time. They beat Wigan, didn't they?
Yeah, just need more of him, don't they? And then lastly, on Sunday to wrap up the weekend, York at home to Leeds. I'm going to throw it out there. I'm thinking York on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go.
Do you know what's funny? Can you imagine, though? Like, we've seen it and everyone thinks, but teams go through these patches, don't they, where they can struggle for 2 or 3 weeks, and you sort of think, they'll bounce back from that, they've got to do, but I think the fact they're at York, I don't think it'll be a blowout. I could be wrong, but I don't think it'll be a blowout. I think it'll be close. I do think Leeds will edge it, but I think York will see it as, look, we'll give it a go, we're at home. And again they're scrapping away from that. Yeah. They don't want to be bottom, do they?
They'll give it a go, but I just think Leeds will be just a little bit too strong when it comes. If it is a close game, just that last 10-15 minutes, Leeds might get two couple tries on. Yeah.
Well, that wraps up this week's Unfiltered Rugby League. Thanks as always to Nova Coffee for hosting our podcast series and sponsoring us. Thanks to everyone again for tuning in. If you've not already, drop a like, drop a subscribe, drop us a message. Be kind, always be kind. Nothing's personal on these podcast episodes, and we're just doing it obviously for the love of the game. So thanks again, Shay, for joining, and we'll see you all again soon. Cheers. We're slightly longer than we wanted for that, but we're not too